The Epistle of St. James. Brethren, be doers of the word, and not hearers only, deceiving yourselves. For if anyone is a hearer of the word and not a doer, he is like a man looking at his natural face in a mirror. For he looks at himself and goes away, and presently he forgets what kind of man he is. But he who has looked carefully into the perfect law of liberty and has remained in it, not becoming a forgetful hearer, but a doer of the word, shall be blessed in his deed. And if anyone thinks himself to be religious, not restraining his tongue, but deceiving his own heart, that man's religion is vain. Religion pure and undefiled before God the Father is this: to give aid to orphans and widows in their tribulation, and to keep oneself unspotted from this world. and forgives. Venitoratum iamam in proferre loco fortis, sed param de patrem siebo fortis. Inidodia, in nomine mea perfectis, et non vico fobis quia oraco, patrem et fortis, ipse in patrem atcos, quia vos me amastis, et benedistis et quia vada te axiti, et sequia patre et in mundo, iter malicum, et te parat patrem, dicut et discipularius, et celum paramaquis, et profegium rubicis, nocimus quiacis omnia, et non opus est viequis de inter vocer, in hoc medimus quia Deus existit. The condition of the Holy Gospel according to St. John. At that time, Jesus said to his disciples, Amen, amen, I say to you, if you ask the Father anything in my name, he will give it to you. Hitherto you have not asked anything in my name. Ask, and you shall receive, that your joy may be full. These things I have spoken to you in parables. The hour is coming when I will no longer speak to you in parables, but will speak to you plainly of the Father. In that day you shall ask in my name, and I will not say to you that I will ask the Father for you, for the Father himself loves you because you have loved me, and have believed that I came forth from God. I came forth from the Father, and have come into the world. Again I leave the world and go to the Father. His disciples said to him, Behold, now you speak plainly, and utter no parable. Now we know that you know all things, and do not need that anyone should question you. For this reason we believe that you came forth from God. Dear fathers, dear brother, dear sisters, and dear faithful, today is the fifth Sunday after Easter, and we exhort you, dear faithful, to continue to live your Christians' lives at home, to say your daily prayers, especially the Holy Rosary, in this month of the Holy Rosary, to say the litany. It's open every day from 9 to 5. Every day. If all those things you have spoken every day, we can see how often we fall in this sin, how much we fall in the sins of the tongue. But many of the time we do not consider much about what we say, and many things may pass as not sinful to us or of no consequence. But there are many sins, at least many sins, which we can commit by our speech. The first one is the sin of lying. Every one of us has lied from time to time for different reasons. Nobody can say, I've never lied in my life. It would be another lie to say so. So a lie is what? Is saying something which is contrary to what we know in our mind, what we are convinced of in our hearts, but we choose to say something contrary. Something contrary. You may say this in order to good, that I do not do it, even though we know we did something wrong, without causing anybody any harm. Most of the time, we speak about any law to anybody, and so they are not. You cannot say they can be harmful. Sometimes they can be harmful. You may say something. In this case, a lie is harmful and should be avoided as much as possible. It can cause a lot of big, just to amuse ourselves. Sometimes we boast, we are proud of what we have achieved, of our talents, and we boast about ourselves. And we forget that it's God who has given us what we have, the talents that we have, some achievement. And some people are very good at this. Look at how beautiful I am, look at how they are not beautiful. This is boasting. And so for themselves, so see how rich I am, and so forth. Sometimes it could be insincerity in our actions, being forceful in our deeds, portraying ourselves. Let's say you ask to do something and you say, "Yes, I'll do it," but you know in your heart you are not going actually to do it. There is the sin of hypocrisy, the sin of the Pharisees, which is pretending to be virtuous and to be holy in front of people, while we know that we are not so. It can be a great fault for many people. They appear to be, and then it can mislead many people. So a lie is something evil. It's opposed to God, who is truth. And a lie cannot be justified in any sense. So each time we lie, we commit at least a venial sin. Even in sacred scripture, it's forbidden to lie. In the book of Ecclesiastes, we read, "Keep clear of untruth." And in the St. Paul to the Colossians, he says, "Do not tell lies at another's expense." Sometimes people are punished because someone told a lie. We refuse to say that we said we did A, B, C, D, and other people are punished. So we lie at the expense of others. So we say that to lie is something evil because it is opposed, especially to the natural purpose of speech. The natural purpose of speech is to reveal to other men what we think, what is in our mind. So to lie does not reveal what we think or what is true, and so it's something evil because it's opposed to the natural purpose of speech. And also it disturbs the natural human intercourse. When we lie to people, we can mislead them to do maybe something wrong, and so it can disturb the peace of the human actions. And also the good, it's opposed to the good of the listener who is deceived by the lie. Some people are easily deceived, and they can never find out the truth, and so they can always be disturbed because they don't know what the truth. They cannot discover it, maybe because they are less witty, and so a lie become harmful to them. Sometimes, the one who speaks the lies all the time, he can incur big losses. He can be comfortable when he's lying, but when he's discovered, he'll be in great disadvantage. A good example is political liars, especially in our countries, where the politicians, they come, they heap lies to the voters. This road will be made immediately I'm elected. This dam will be built immediately I'm elected. And then we cast the vote for them, very happily. Then, after 10 years, the road it's still the same. You are still using a donkey and a cart because we cannot drive through. People are dying because they cannot access the hospital, because so and so died and he did not fulfill his promise. And so we know what happens. The next elections, these people, they suffer the consequences of their lives because they never kept their word. So lying is something which is evil, it's opposed to the truth, and is never allowed. It can be grievously sinful. Most of the time it's not grievously sinful because it's only opposed to the truthfulness. And usually it's a new sin. But if it's contrary or if it opposes justice and other virtues like religion, it can become a grave sin. Because if we lie and someone make a big loss, then we sin against justice, and this is something grave. If we lie people about the truths of the religion, it's something grave, something grievous, and it's very opposed to the truth and to the virtues. So let us always cultivate the habit of telling the truth, and also instill this discipline to our children. Children lie easily in order to get out of trouble, but we can also train them not to lie or to tell the truth all the time, in order that they become really good citizens who speak the truth, There's another subtle way of speaking, called mental reservation. It's a kind of a lie. It appears to be a lie, but actually it's not a lie. And sometimes it can be allowed to be used. It can be used by wise men, even by common people. We always, sometimes people use what we call mental reservation. You might have used it without knowing what it is. A mental reservation is an act of the mind whereby in the course of conversation, we restrict the sense of words used to mean something different. So we say something to someone, but we know in our mind it doesn't mean that. So it's up to them to, out of their intelligence, out of their prudence, to know what you are speaking about, even though you don't tell them openly. You use words which, it's up to them to distinguish what you're saying, and this is very common among men. Suppose you're used to lending someone money and you know they never give back. They know you have money, maybe a businessman, they come and borrow you 10,000. It's not unusual for you to have a lot of money, but you tell them, I've no money to give. Of course, they know you're lying to them. But you are not actually lying. You're telling them, I'll not give you any money because you never give back. So I'll not give to you. But you don't tell them, I don't give to you. You use the words, I don't have any money to give to you. So they're intelligent enough to know that you don't want to give them. You have their money, but you don't want to give to them. Or you go to an office, most likely without an appointment, you meet the secretary, and you say, I would like to see the boss. For somebody tell the boss. And the secretary tells you, he is not here, he's not in the office. Well, he's in the office, but he has not time for you. That's simply what the secretary is telling you. Or another funny example is you have not paid your rent, and the landlord comes knocking at your door early in the morning, and you're in your bedroom, and your son knows that you really don't have money to pay the landlord, and you'll be in trouble. And the landlord asks your son, how is Daddy? I want to speak to him. Oh, he has gone. He's not here. Is the son lying? No, he's not lying. He's using this mental reservation to say, okay, he's here, but you're not going to see him today. You can try another time. So mental reservation is concealment of a truth. It's a concealment of a truth. which in some circumstances is not only permitted but even necessary, and was used by Christ himself. Even our Lord used this mental reservation one time. In the Gospel of St. John chapter 7, verses 8, so his brethren said to him, "Leave here and go to Judea, that your disciples may see the works that you are doing. But for no man works in secret if he seeks to be known openly." He said to them, "Go to the feast yourselves. I am not going up to these feasts, for my time has not yet fully come." So saying, he remained in Galilee. But after his brethren had gone up to the feast, then he also went up, not publicly, but in private. No, he tells them, "I'm not going to this feast. You go yourself." And then, after they had gone, he also went, not publicly, but in private. Our Lord wanted to go in private, and they wanted him to go in publicly. So he tells them, "I'm not going." But he don't lie, because he wanted to go in private. He knew that his enemies were trying to lay traps for him. Because of these circumstances, he go in private in order to not to cause commotion. In general, mental reservation should be used as little as possible in the course of conversation. So we should not always use mental reservations. It can be disturbing to people. It can seem as if we are lying. So let us, if we use it, we use it prudently and not all the time. Not to be used all the time. There's another sin we can commit, the sin of tongue, the violation of secrets. And this is very sensitive, and I think most people, they don't know what to do with secrets. Many people, they don't know what to do. They don't know if revealing them is a sin or not, and so they might be sinning without proper knowledge of what they are doing. So a secret is something which is hidden, some facts which are hidden from the public knowledge. But properly speaking, a secret is a knowledge we have of some hidden fact which other people don't know, and we have the obligation not to reveal this fact. We know it's a secret, and you have the obligation not to reveal this fact. That's what we mean by a secret. Theologian says there are three secrets: a natural secret, a promised secret, and an entrusted secret. A natural secret is the common knowledge that we can have, from natural law, especially when we know the sins of someone, especially shameful sins, mortal sins of someone. Naturally, we discover someone has done ABCD. Maybe it's only you yourself who knows. So by nature, you are bound to keep the secret of the sins of others, especially mortal sins. But how many people are able to do that? Many times people jump. I saw. I heard them say. I caught them. It's not a secret. It's only you who know, but your sin is not a secret. And so you spread the knowledge. So by nature, if you discover someone has done something sinful, shameful sin, or any other sin, we are bound by nature to keep. You have the obligation to keep the secret. A promised secret is the time someone reveals to you a secret and tells you, "It's between me and you, don't tell anybody." Don't tell anybody. An entrusted secret is the secret of the professionals. A doctor has no many secrets of people, of his clients. A midwife, a lawyer, a priest, they know many an accountant, they know many secrets, and they are about by their profession to keep these secrets. When you go to a doctor, you know that whatever he discovers from you is secret, between it's professional secret, and it's not supposed to divulge this information to anybody. And these people are about under a dark pain of mortal sin to keep these secrets. But also there's another professional, the priest, There's another very serious secret, the most abiding secret, the secret of confession, which is called the seal of confession. And we are well instructed, all of us, about this secret of confession, the seal of confession, which gives us confidence to go to a priest to say our sins. Sometimes we have committed a public crime, a crime which we can be prosecuted of. And we have to defeat it before God in the confession. So we are not afraid that the priest is going to call the police after we have gone to confession, or he's not going to call your wife and say, oh, you know what he has done. No. We have this confidence because of the seal of confession. The priest knows the consequences if he doesn't keep this secret. He will have an automatic excommunication if he feels willingly or without considering, with any reason, he is not bound to reveal this secret of confession. Even if a terrorist comes to confession, he tells the priest, yesterday with my group we went and we have planted explosives in these two buildings, and in 2 days they go into flames and many people die. And for me, there's nothing I can do. The game is set and nobody can. The place is guarded by the other terrorists and nobody can be able to undo what you have done. So the priest cannot say anything. He cannot call the police up and say, something is going to happen in 2 days. That's my prophecy. So he's bound to keep this secret, even in danger of destruction of the property, or even in loss of life of many people, because the sacrament is more important than anything else, and the confidence is what is most important. The confidence. So even you, dear parents, you should never ask the priest, did my son come to confession? What did he say? Did he did ABCD? No. We should never try to get any information from the confession from the priest, because he's bound by the seal of confession. Or anybody who hears, anybody who might hear a confession going on by mistake, and he knows so and so has confessed ABCD, they are also bound to keep this secret under pain of excommunication. So naturally, we say the natural secrets, they bind at a grave sin. So we are not allowed to reveal the sins of other people. And also there's the professional secrets. Those entrusted to the professionals, they can never divulge them to the public. And so forth. By promised secrets, we are told that they bind at the pain of any sin. If someone tells you a story and don't tell anybody, unless there is some circumstances that you cause big injuries, there will be injustice, then it's not binding under pain of mortal sin. But if the circumstances changes and there will be great harm, then we should always guard these secrets. I know, we're always happy to tell secrets in our conversations. So we should always examine ourselves, and from today henceforth, try to be more, to guard the secrets that we know, especially sins of other people, because it can cause them a lot of loss, can cause defamation. We look next time about the sins of defamation. There's another sin which people can commit. Okay, we can say that sometimes it is allowed to reveal the secrets that we know for the common good, for the public good. Sometimes a professional can be obliged even to reveal some secrets. Say there is an outbreak, he knows it, because he has done some investigation, he's obliged to make an announcement, for the common good. And in this time, he's not bound to keep his secrets, even his professional secrets. But most of the time, we are bound not to tell our secrets. The police, they can investigate and give information in order to prevent crime, not to prevent crimes. If you know someone is a thief and he's always stealing and he's wanted the police, at this point you have to give the information about him, even though you know his crimes. In this case, for the common good, you reveal the secret. Only the secret confession, which can never be disclosed by any circumstances. There's another sin which people commit: the reading of another's letters. The reading of another letters. And we know that many times in letters there are secrets. There are secrets between people. So if you read and discover these secrets, it's a grave sin. If you read someone's letter without their consent, without the consent of the sender, without the consent of the recipient, or without legitimate authority, without legitimate authority to do so. Superiors, maybe according to the office, they can be vigilant sometimes, and they might be authorized. The police, or the investigative police, they can intercept some messages in order to see what is going on and to keep the country safe. But the other people, they are not allowed to do so, because it's like theft. You take someone's information without their knowledge. Sometimes it's not a sin because there's nothing secret in the letters, or people think it's okay to read someone's letters. Sometimes you can be very embarrassed if you read someone's letter, and you discover their life. And also today, the mode of communication have evolved. With the modern technology, with the electronic technology, there's also the short messages between people, emails, and today it's people have done a lot of harm. Maybe by reading messages which do not belong to them, and discovering very grave secrets of their neighbors. People take people's information and actually make it public, sometimes very shameful information. And this is very sinful today. It has caused a lot of harm when we expose people publicly without their consent. They become depressed, they commit suicide, they lose businesses. This is happening today, every day. Not to mention between the secrets, the marriage secrets. The husband has his own phone, the wife has their own phone. So it's a secret gadget. But sometimes the spouses can spy on each other and they discover what the other is doing. And this has also caused a lot of harm in the marriages, even divorce. So we should be very careful. If you discover your husband or your wife is doing ABCD, what are you going to do? So it's better if you don't discover, for the sake of your marriage. For the sake of your marriage. So it's good not to be curious and to refrain from snooping, as we call it, into other people's businesses, because it can cause a lot of harm, it can loss of life. So we don't know how many sins are committed in the social media today. Malicious damage by using information that we get. So let us examine ourselves and make ourselves have good habits of the information that we receive, the information that we give, so that we do not sin by our tongues. Many times we get an information without our making an effort. Are we able to keep this information to ourselves? If we are not able to keep ourselves from keeping this information, are we committing sins? Are we committing grave sins? So let us always examine ourselves and create good habits of how we use the information that we have about our neighbor. Let us also continue during this month of the Holy Rosary to be more devout to Blessed Virgin Mary by our daily recitation of the Holy Rosary, by the litanies, by meditations, and so forth. And God is going to bless us, and is going to forgive our sins, and is going to help us during this time of crisis. Lastly, I would like to thank you, dear faithful, for your contribution financially and materially. Of late, people have been donating different kinds of foodstuffs, maize flour, especially, and so forth. And each week, we are distributing almost about 90 kgs of maize flour to needy families, especially mothers of families with children. So we are grateful for your donations, and we encourage you to give more as long as the crisis persists. And God is going to reward us of the good that we do, the charity that we are doing during this time of crisis. These people are very grateful, I can say that. They're very grateful. Even if I give them 2 kgs of garlic flour, they're very grateful, because maybe they didn't have anything else in the house. And I always ask them to pray for us. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and the Holy Ghost. Amen. for